Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Over the course of the last Ramadan, we have had the opportunity and the privilege to go through briefly the lives of 30 of the ulama of Islam, ranging from over 1,000 years ago up until just 200 and something years ago, showing us different lands of Islam, different ages, from different races, everything. We saw those who were orphans, those who were raised by single mothers, those who were born in poverty and lived a life of poverty, regardless of where they came from, what race they came from, what their mother tongue was, or anything of the sort. They had one thing in common, and that was the Deen, the effort that they made for the Deen. The Deen was their lives, and their lives serves as a means of inspiration for both the ulama and the lay people alike. It is a means for the ulama to look up and sit up and think that this people, these ai reach that level. The fuqaha, the a'immati mujtahideen, mufassirin and mu'arrikhin, all of these ulama that we touched upon their lives, the imams of aqidah and of fiqh and of hadith and of usul and tafsir and all of these things. And their names live on till this very day. And their names will live on even though we have passed on and different generations have come by, and those names of those ulama will still continue to live on in the hearts and the minds of the Muslims. Why? Because they gave their life and everything that they had for the sake of this deen. So it is a means for the ulama to set up and they should take cognizance from this, that this is the ideal that we should be aspiring towards. We should not just become complacent. I got some title, I got some certificate, I'm an alim, it ends there. That was not the way that any of the ulama of the past, any one of them, and anybody who listened to the series of lectures, gone through you heard the lives of these ai you have no choice but to admit that these people were amongst the greatest people that this earth has ever seen. No way, if all the people on the surface of the earth today, all the pious people and everyone were put together and one of those ulama were put on the other side of the scale, then their greatness is better than that of the entire world today. That's the type of lives that they led. And as the ulama should aspire towards that. And as the normal people who's not ulama, then their lives are also a means of us coming closer to them, gaining the love and closeness to them, and having the respect and admiration for them that they deserve, so that we don't fall into the trap of being people. They were men and I'm a man, why must I listen to them? I can make up my own things. Those ulama who made the ijtihad, those ulama who graded the ahadith, those ulama who did all of those work, why do we need to reinvent the wheel when they did a better job than anyone on the surface of the earth can do today? The famous and great Imam Shaafi'i rahimahullah, he tells us about he wrote a line of poetry with regards to loving the pious people, and he said, أحب الصالحين ولست منهم لعلي أن أنال بهم شفاعة وأكره من تجارته المعاصي ولو كنا سواء في البضاعة. He said, I love the pious even though I am not of them. And we know a person can't even talk about how great Imam Shaafi'i rahimahullah was. If he was not pious, then there was no one pious on the surface of the earth. But out of humility, he said this, that I love the pious people even though I am not from them, in the hope that I may attain their intercession for me. Because on the day of Qiyamah, I will say, oh Allah, I love them, I respected them, I try to be like them, so let them intercede for me today. And he goes on, he say, وَأَكْرَهُ مَنْ تِجَارَتُهُ الْمَعَاصِي, and I dislike the one who trades in sin. In other words, I dislike the one who engages in sin the whole time. وَلَوْ كُنَّا سَوَاءً فِي الْبِضَاعَةِ, even though we both may be equal in the goods that we are selling. In other words, like he is a sinner, so too am I a sinner, but I dislike my sin and I dislike his sin as well. I don't want to be associated with sinners, even though I am a sinner. I want to be with those who are pious people, even though I'm not one of them. That's the line of poetry that he wrote. So the student of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, the great Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah, he wrote a line of poetry in reply, and he to Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, and he said, تحب الصالحين وأنت منهم ومنكم يرتجى نيل الشفاعة وتكره من تجارتهم معاصي وقاك الله شر البضاعة. He said that you love the pious people and you are most definitely one of them. And it is from people like you of your piety whose intercession is sought. And you dislike those who engaged in sin, and Allah saved you as a result from all those type of sins. All that evil that they engaged in, Allah saved you from all of it. So From the poetry of Imam Shaafi'i and the poetry of Imam Ahmad rahimahumullah, we gain from this that by us loving the pious people, the more you learn about people, you realize the greatness of who they were and what they had done. It builds up the love for them in your heart. People listen to the movie stars and this one and that songwriter and this thing, and they get, the more movies they watch, the more they love them, the more songs they listen to of that person, the more closer they get to them, buy all the albums and things of the sort. So unless we learn more of the ulama, we won't be able to love them. Just like if we don't learn more of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, we won't be able to love them either. And these are the people who are deserving of our love, not the people who will take us to Jahannam. These are the ones who are the guiding, shining stars in the sky in a world of blackness, that when we lose our way and we don't know which direction to turn to, then Allah has left this earth and lit it up with all of these bright and shining stars of Islam, spreading from the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the Salaf and the Khalaf, the A'imma of the Madahib. They have been there and guided us and shown us the way of how we can attain success in this world and in the year after. It's not in meaningless empty slogans. It's not in claiming things and then not living up to it. These A'imma, as we can see, they lived 1,000 years apart from one another, and yet their lives were identical. They were from different ethnicities, and you could not tell the difference between them. There's no one that you can say, oh, I could see there's a bit of Turkish influence in him, or a bit of African influence in him, or a bit of Indian influence in that one, or this one brought about some Arab culture into it. Never. Every last one of them, the desire that was there in every one of their lives was to do one thing and one thing only: to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if a person actually reads the descriptions of these ai you will find one thing in common between all of them. It was the shan, it was the salient feature of the ulama to wear the turban, because the turban was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Never was there a case of an person claiming to be an alim and he's got a shaven beard, or a person is an alim and he's wearing low slung pants, and you won't find these sort of things. They knew what it is that we are aspiring towards. They realized where our goal is and what we are here for in this world, what our purpose is, and they made the effort towards it. They didn't sit back and it's not our business. Because they did the work, our lives today are easy. There are so many lessons we can learn from the lives of the ulama. We learn from their lives that there is no such thing as racism in Islam. When the ulama went out to study, they studied by anyone. You can be black, white, pink, blue, green, anything. You are an alim of Deen and they studied by you. There's no such thing, you are black, I can't learn by you. You're Indian, I can't learn by you. You're Arab, I can't learn by you. Nothing of the sort. If he's speaking the Deen, then that's who I study by. That's why the ulama studied by thousands, hundreds of ulama. They would go to this one and that one and that one, travel the world, learning knowledge by the different ulama. We learn from the lives of all of these ai the evilness of this and the sickness of the copyright that people have brought about. Imagine if Imam al-Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Imam al-Shafi'i and all the Imam Abu Hanifa and the different ulama had copyright protected their works. There would be no Islam today. All the books of hadith would have been in the hands of 1-2 people who paid the copyright fees to buy the book and keep it there, and the rest of the ummah would have wallowed in misery and darkness and end up in Jahannam as a result. But they did the work for the sake of Allah. Today a man will write one page, one measly page, not a book. He'll write one page and then it will be big, his name is splashed over it, and it is copyright protected under this company here, not allowed to store it in any thing and things like this for one page. And then this person still expect that Allah must reward him for it as well. Your reward is in this world when you get that pennies that comes back as royalties and stuff like that, but this work that you do is not for the sake of Allah. We could see from the lives of the ulama, people who are poverty stricken, who had no money, and there were thousands more ulama of that type. People who ate dry beans as a means of living. Dry beans were their meals, and they would not take a cent for the deen. And today it's like, if I'm not being paid top dollar, I don't want to do it. The deen has become a commodity. We have lost the plot and ended up following things which was not the way of Islam, not the way of the Salaf, not the way of any of the ai throughout the ages. So we need to take our minds back onto the right track. Learn who the ulama were. Learn the history of Islam. History is there to learn from, and if people don't learn from it, they are destined to just fall into mistakes. And that is why Allah has told us the stories in the Quran of the different nations who were destroyed and about this and that. Not because it's nice fairy tales. Oh, we heard a nice story today. Let's go home and sing Kumbaya, and then it's all good and fun and games and all dandy, and then you go home. It didn't work like that. This life is a test, and the only way we will pass this test is if we follow the way that Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught to us via the means of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum and the Imam throughout the ages. And as Imam Malik ibn Anas rahimahullah had said, that the latter part of this ummah will never attain success and will never go anywhere in life except by following that which the former part of this ummah were upon. So like the ulama of the past, the Muslims of 1,000 years ago followed the Quran and Sunnah in that way, so too is the Deen exactly applicable today. There is nothing which has changed in 1400 years of Islam. No part of Islam has been abrogated. No part of Islam has been changed. No person has the right to abrogate or remove parts of Islam and feel that it was for that time and not today anymore. Allah has made the Deen Al-Yawma Akmaltu Lakum Deenakum. When Allah tells us, today have I perfected your Deen, who is there then that can say, no, this must change, or this shouldn't be there, or this was this and this was that? Then you are saying, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, that Allah did not complete the Deen. So may Allah grant us the understanding and give us that love for the Imam and that love for the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and grant us the ability to realize the amount of knowledge that they had and the little amount that we have which we think is knowledge. Because when we understand and we have the knowledge, we will realize that what we are making and calling wheels are in fact square blocks, and what they had made was a perfectly round wheel to make this Deen move smoothly. But now people want to come and make flat tires, triangles, squares, ovals, rectangles, and everything of the sort, and then think in their minds that they are doing the right thing, when everything was already made perfect for us to follow. The Deen has been expounded on and explained, and nothing has been left in the dark. There is nothing which is uncertain. There is nothing which a person can say, it hasn't been explained. I need to write something on it. I need to explain it. I need to do it in this way. There is no such thing. Anything you want, the ulama of the past have already done that work for us. So may Allah grant us understanding and the ability to practice upon it, and the ability to follow in the footsteps of these ulama and these pious people and the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, so that we may attain success in this world and in the year after. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.